My name is André Lage. I work for a Swiss company that is called Datalynx, and today's topic is about the list formatting, and specifically for one subtopic that is the neomorphic design. As you may already hear, this topic was mostly inspired by Kristine Kolodziejski, where she already created some controls for the Power Apps platform, and I also enjoy the way that was done and design itself. So here I really recommend to give a look on the work made by Kristine regarding this topic itself. So I try to adapt. She made her own controls, and I try to adapt the ones for the list formatting, how we can use the current lists, and the formatting itself is already very expensive on the CSS and the HTML, and I try to create this bunch of controls that you can reuse on your list formatting. So what was done? So there was some analysis of the concepts and the goals to achieve when I start to create these neomorphic designs. I also make some investigation, and I try to see it from the HTML and the CSS skills. How can I make the simulation? What is the concept? How can we create these 3D look and feels? And also the usage of some CSS styles with the boss shadow, where we can create these different controls. It's important that I also reference that when I created these controls, I'll use one from another huge member from the list formatting, that is Tetsuya Kawara, where I use the base of the work for the Doughnut, and I transform it also to be with the same look and feel on the neomorphic design. And then the idea when we create these controls is how we can use it and to paint it, or how we can implement it directly on the list, not only on the columns, but also on the views itself. And for that, we have a very simple view where we can have this visualization. But since this is also a technical, it's not only to draw the controls, but how we can use it. And here we can use the PowerShell for our own help. There is already some interesting examples on the PnP PowerShell team where we can import the formatting to the columns. So they are the content type hub, and they are the list template approach. So the content type, basically we create a group of these fields with this look and feel, and we can propagate for each sites. And the second one is we pick a list when we use it to activate and to implement in the site that we have it. I will create a very simple example itself. So let's go to the samples. So for each one of these buttons, what I have done, I didn't create really a button itself. I use a field type yes or no that will create the feeling that we are clicking on the button itself. And if the button is yes, we'll keep some deepness on the button. And I also try to simulate the buttons that you can already see when you go to the refrigerator or when you turn on the light. This is the type of simulations that you can easily identify on your daily work itself, not only on the internet, but on your real life. And this is what I try to simulate itself. And also the ability to have options. So when you have a field type options, we can have different options, and you can click on the button. As you can see, there is some type of deepness that gives the feeling what button did you choose, what option did you choose, and the colors will react based on that. And then I have also the ability to create the rate and to keep some type of shadow that we can see the rate. There are some deepness between the controls and how they can choose the different type of rates. Of course, we can say 1 to 5, but we can increase and decrease the numbers of the options. And also the same is then for the image. For example, when I pick a picture from my vacations, I put it in a way that looks like a picture that is in the wall. And when you click it, as you can see, there are some opacity where you have a little description and also the visualization of the pictures. The same can be done when you are using your mobile. For example, what is the percentage of the content that you already did, how many kilometers that you have it, what is your goals, and this can be also represented in a more deepness and that's a new morphic approach with the shadows that represent some type of deepness and the 3D look and feel itself. The same is happening with bars, where I create a horizontal and a vertical, where will give us the percentage of the bar, what is in that moment. As you can see between the bar, you can see that looks that is going deeper on the option of the bar that is appearing itself. And then this comes the last option that is a little more complicated. Basically, I create a column with a list formatting that simulates the calendar. So this calendar, you will be able to choose options and you can change the different months. How this was done? So this is a mathematical formula to calculate the day of the week. What that means? So for example, today we have it to the 14th, and I need to know if this day is a first day. There is a mathematical calculation where I have the year code, the month code, the century code, the date number, and then I use the mod of the 7. And this will give me, for example, for today will be the first day, and then use the rows to know in what the range rows. For example, the first row between 1 and 7, and the 7 to 14, and then I will paint based on that conditions, and then you have a full calendar using this mathematical formula. No complications, so it's just let's use really mathematical that we learn at school and just implement it using some painting itself. So let's go to the demo itself. So I just go to my example. I go to the site where I already have these options already implemented. As you can see, and like I said it, you already have this option, and you can change the month, and this will automatically reflect the day and the date of the month that we are talking about. And at any moment, we can return to the home day, and we can switch. The same for the rating itself, and the same way we do for when we choose the options or the buttons, how this will represent on our site. So if you have it here, you see there is all the options that we have in this column will be also representative. The same will happen on the option. As you open, you can choose, you can see there are already some options already predefined, and I can choose and automatically will be reflected itself. So there is already a very interaction approach of the different options itself, and you can click on the buttons, and this will give some feeling of that is clicked, that is disabled, and this is enabled. And at any moment, you can also create, for example, a card. Imagine you want to have a card. I want the 5 of hearts, and I want to change, and I will put diamonds. And this will automatically generate a card with the feeling on the 3D that you can have it, this approach. So let's go with a simple, more interesting point. So how can I use it for this? What I have done is to create an area where I'm going to draw using my columns and this formatting that I already have it. So for this, I will just go into expand. And I'm going to use the column formatted reference. This option, what it's going to do is, on my view, I'm going to select the columns. They are already pre-formatted. So let's start to create, based on the area that I have it here, the different fields. So I will add the image, and slowly we're going to start to draw our card. So I'm going to create, and this will create also this option, and I will include additional one. Also the rate, plug option where we have it, and let's see how it will appear with our calendar, vertical bar, and horizontal bar. So let's implement and see how we're going to draw. We have a total new card that we can have our representation. Of course, I also create for this example a random approach. And what he is going to do is just to see how this content will represent, and we have it in a very dynamic way. So he will choose a random date. He will choose also a random bar option and also a rate. So we're going to see the interaction itself, how this will interact with our SharePoint site. So for example, if I go to my sites, I go to a site that already uses it for all my customizations. I'm going to edit, and I'm going to add my new morphologic list. So I'm going to select, for example, new formic. I'm going to edit. I'm going to just do some actions here, change. And I have it here. As you can see, since I created a card that specifically fits, this is how we can work and see our content. So in a very simple and better way, we can align and put it correctly how we're going to present content. All this, what we are seeing is all customization based on list formatting itself. And you can see how we can interact itself on the content itself. And this is how we can use, we can design, we can draw, and also this is the list formatting that I'm going to provide on our list repository where we can make the implementation. So this is okay, but now how can we use it and how we can manage in a more IT and governance point of view? So what I am going to do is to create a content type. So basically it's an area where I'm going to compile, I can compile all these groups, all these fields with this specific formatting. And for that, I have a specific script. And what it's going to do is going to connect to our content type hub. It's going to access to our list formatting website. So just going to access to our list formatting. And then I'm going to access to our JSON. And then there's an option that is called raw. We can copy the URL. And in this case, I'm going to use the calendar formatting itself. For that, I'm going to create a new field that will be called calendar demo, and I'm going to create this group of fields. For this, I will call it custom formatting neomorphic list. I will create the content type, and then I'm going to publish what on the content I have. What it's going to do is this specific hub is going to propagate the fields that I created to each one of the SharePoint sites where the users can edit in the future itself, and I'm going to publish itself this content. So just very straightforward. I'm going to activate, and I hope everything goes well. During the publishing, I'm going to create a sample on the PnP PowerShell with all these samples where you can be tested, all these options itself. So I'm going to the administration area, and let's give a look what was created itself. Oh, we have a new option, a new content type. So let's see what is there. We have the title because I associate to the item, and I have here the calendar demo. What happened on this moment? If you go directly there, you see the list formatting is already created here. What is great. So what will be my next approach? So since I already created the content type, I want to propagate to the demo site that I'm working here. So for that, I'm going to create a SharePoint list, in this case, a new list that is called PnP neomorphic sample, and I'm going to access to this list. I'm going just to access it. Okay. Then I go to my list, and then I'm just going to include my new custom options. So I will have it here, a custom formatting, new formatting. I will include them. I will go directly to the list. Okay, we have it there. And then I'm just going to create my new control. So I will say this is example, this is example. I will create it. And then I'm just going to show. So in this case, and I have it here, the calendar. Of course, I did it for one field, can be done for multiple fields that you can manage and governance in a content type hub. So in an IT approach itself. So this is great. This is one option that we have it. Second option that we can also have it is the ability that you already hear from the other examples, the creation of a template. What I have done, so I create the site, I pick the list with all the fields that I already have it, and I'm going to create a name that is easily identifiable to be accessible on our organization list template. So I'm just going to run the script. And this is also another sample that will be available. And when I go to the list, for our organization, we have here the new template with all these fields already pre-prepared where you can use it and to prepare the content itself. And the moment I create, this new field will be automatically available. Of course, if you go directly to the format, we have always the same look and feel and the content, how we can do on this content itself. And of course, this will also going to be representative on every SharePoint site. This is this is the examples that I created, and that will be available on the list repository. Right now are only in public request, and as soon this will be available, you'll be able to also to download these options and to make the test. Here, the idea is to try to adapt different models and different systems itself, where you can adapt governance, talk with your IT, and also to create templates that you can easily implement and use it like I use it, for example, for the different templates and how to display the content. And in a multiple approach, because list format is not only to draw, but it's also how you're going to manage. This is what I wanted to show, also with the look and feel, with the design, and how you're going to approach on each point of the solution. David, that's everything from my side. I pass to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Andre. A cornucopia of features packed in there. So thank you for sharing that. And as he had mentioned, we're working through those pull requests right now. So keep an eye out for that at the list formatting repo. Amazing work, Andre. Thank you very, very much again. So cool.